These are on vendor search for 175. So this guy has agreed to buy it for they're on vendor search for 175. He's agreed to buy for one. All right. So we're trying to see how far I've made it in this 2 billion gold challenge. And I'm going to give you guys an update on that here in a second. But I thought what I would do also, before we get into the gold status update, is give you guys some of my thoughts on gold making in general and how it's been going, what's working, what's not. Maybe some of you guys can tell me what I'm doing wrong, and maybe some of you can benefit from the advice. Now that I've been trying to make a large volume of money over the last couple of months, I feel like I've learned a few things. So I think first you can broadly classify making money into two really broad groups. The first group is kind of general activities that you can do anytime, any time of the year. You know, it's not dependent on a seasonal event or events in general. It's just you can go out, you can log in, and you can do it right now. Or put a group together and do it. And then the other major classification I would say is seasonal events. And that is going to be things like the holiday season Krampus event. That was a couple months. You have these dungeon events. We had a Desert event, the Fey one earlier this year. That was 2 or 3 months. We had one in Deceit the last 3 or 4 months. So in general, you know, they have these events going on, and these are another good way to make money. So I want to start out talking about the seasonal events, because I think these events are actually a really good way, especially for newer players, to make a decent amount of money fairly quickly. And because they do happen so frequently, you're not more than a couple months away from an event starting if you're not in one right now. That being said, you know, there are times in the year where there is not an event going on, so you'll need to be able to figure out how to make money outside of that. But you know, always pay attention to what events are going on and make sure that you're participating, you understand how you can make money from the event, and that you're participating as much as you can with the characters that you have. So the first one I would just use as a reference point is the Krampus event. The Krampus event lets you run these trade missions from different cities, and for every trade route that you complete, you're essentially filling up a percentage meter where Krampus will eventually spawn. So if there's a bunch of people running it, every person that hands in a trade run increases your chance that a Krampus will spawn until eventually it does. I think it's something like 20 or 30. I don't know the exact number. And then you can, you know, participate in killing Krampus. And if you have done 3 trade runs, I believe, you're guaranteed a drop from Krampus. So understanding how that works and understanding what's valuable. So there's certain recipe scrolls. There's these whip recipe scrolls. They sell for, I sold them for 60 or 70 million on Atlantic. I got 2 this year. I think there's a recipe scroll that sells for 150. There's some title scrolls, some other things that don't sell for very much, but understanding what the loot is and how it can benefit you is really good, because as a new player especially, this does not require any real effort or skill. It's just a matter of running from point A to point B and doing just enough damage on Krampus when he spawns to get a chance at this stuff. You do 15, 20 Krampuses over the course of a couple months, you're probably going to get a 50, 60 million gold drop, and that's a lot of money for a newer player. That's getting you a couple, you know, 120 power scrolls that can get you set up. The other thing to watch out for are the events, and there's a couple a year. There, you know, there's the treasures of Fey Wrath, or what, I don't know. They're all called different names, but they usually run for 2 or 3 months at a time. And if you get loot rights on a monster in these dungeons, there's a very small percentage chance that you'll get, you know, a loot drop, which can be turned in for points, which can be redeemed for usually really good artifacts. You know, early on in those events, one thing that's really important to know is that high-end players with a lot of money are looking to get the cosmetic versions of those items that are dropping. So if you're in there on an elf or a human, you're going to get elf or a human artifact drops. If you're in there on a gargoyle, you'll get gargoyle drops. And, there's certain types of armors that they look cool. They're for collectors. So, you might get a ring, you might get a weapon. Those are going to sell for whatever they sell for as far as what the points value is on your server. But early on in an event, if you can get, bone armor, maybe plate armor, the kind of armors that people like with these unique colors from this event, let's just say normally an item would sell for 1 million. You might be able to sell those for 10, 15 million, especially at the beginning of an event. So you just got to decide how you want to do it. What I did was, I farmed the event, the recent event, and I put everything up for sale for 5 or 10 million that I thought might be cosmetic. I sold a bunch of those, so I got a lot of money out of it. And then later, once the value drops and everyone's gotten the armor pieces that they wanted and you're not going to be able to make that kind of profit, then I just started turning everything in for points and I got the items that I wanted. But I thought that might be worth mentioning if you're a newer player, try selling those cosmetic pieces of armor in the beginning of the event for a lot more than the other pieces of equipment, because you might be able to make quite a bit of profit. And let's say you're looking for points, like let's say you sell for 10 million, you could then come back later and buy the regular items for 1 million a piece. So you could turn a single bone armor drop, instead of you sell it for 10 million, you could buy 10 rings, weapons, whatever's less desirable, and you could get 10 points instead of that one. So I think that's an important thing to know. But in general, as a newer player, these events are really good, and especially if you do what I said and you sell the cosmetic pieces up front for a higher value, you can really make a lot of money for yourself, and you don't need an advanced character to do it. So what if there isn't an event going on? Well, then you have to kind of think about the more traditional ways to make money. And there's a lot, and I'm only going to go over a couple here, just the things that I've been doing. I'm sure there's some taming and there's some crafting and there's some other things that you can do. But I thought a thing that might be interesting for newer players is just some of these basic things you might not realize have value that you can really make a lot of money on. And they're probably things that you could have looted that you didn't loot just because you didn't know. So the first thing that I thought I would mention, and this is especially helpful for newer players as they go through the loot on things that they've killed, is you want to keep your eye open for clean jewelry. And what that means is you're looking for jewelry that has specific kinds of stats on it that maybe is not as likely that you can get on other armor. So for example, like you can get resistances on armor, you can get lower reagent cost on armor, but you generally can't get swing speed, as an example. So you might be looking for swing speed rings that don't have anything else on them. And I'll give you an example. If you look at my ring and my bracelet, these were clean rings. So this, I can't remember exactly, but this ring came with, I believe it was swing speed 10. Of course it did, because you can't imbue that. And then I believe it was 25 damage increase. And then this one came with swing speed 5 and 25 damage increase. It might have been hit chance, I'm not sure. It was one or the other. Each one came with the swing speed plus 1 stat that I knew I needed. So that doesn't sound like something that would be a lot, but it didn't have any other junk on it. So I was able to add exactly what I needed. I needed 15 total swing speed. I got that from these pieces of jewelry. I needed the damage increase. I got that. And then I can add on the stuff that I exactly want from imbuing. And then I'm already taken care of on swing speed. So, talk to your guildies or your friends, and maybe someone can give you an idea of what kind of clean jewelry is helpful. But when you're killing stuff, especially early on, it's always worth just taking a look. There might be a 10 or 15 million gold item there just because it would be valuable to someone who can add on to it. So I thought that would be the first thing worth pointing out. And then the other things are, I think there's two kinds of activities. There's general activities. Those general activities are going to include the things you do when you've got no friends online and your guild's not online. That's going to be stuff like, for me, my go-tos have been Powders of Translocation. It's been Essences of Control, Essences of Order. Those are the big things. It can be Void Orbs, which are nice because you can also get Shame Crystals, which can also turn into another type of material for crafting, which sells for tens of millions, depending on the market on the given day. But, figure out what works for you. imbuing, a good place to start if you're not sure is to go to New Magicka, see the prices of the various essences that are there, figure out what are easiest for you to farm, and then do that. So that's a good starting point. But the other thing that I've been really trying to get the value out of is group content. So you can do different bosses or whatever, but something that you can usually find in a larger guild is there's always a rooftop or an underwater going. And those are kind of end game dungeons. And even if you're not super advanced, if you just got 100 magery and you just can participate or listen to instructions, you should be able to go to these events. And rooftop, for example, you'll have a small chance at an artifact. Now, some of them don't sell for a lot. I bought one today for 50,000, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. But there's some that sell up to 200 or 300 million in today's environment. They're called cameos. They're something that goes up in this slot up here. It's kind of like this item, except I believe you get a boost to one of the stats. But those are 200, 300 million. So if you can just get in these groups with your guild, that's something you want to always do. And every time you go, you get a chance at one of those dropping. The other thing that's really important, though, and this applies to both the non-artifact loot on rooftop, and it applies to underwater especially, is you should be going through. If you don't get an artifact drop, it can be frustrating, but there's a lot of value that you can find in the actual loot that's on the body, not just in artifacts. So we'll go through it later, but there's certain types of equipment that are very, very valuable to certain people. So if you go to one of these, you don't get an artifact drop, don't be too dismayed. You want to get into the specific item properties, and you want to look for certain things. So what I've been told, and a lot of this comes from his name's Randy on my server, and he pops into the stream every now and again. He's kind of coached me on this, but there's certain items that are really valuable for PvPers. So like you're looking for studded leather or bone armor, and you're looking for a number of different stats. You're going to be looking for a couple different kinds of regen. You're going to be looking for high resistances. You're going to want to see that in combination with some LMC, some LRC. So we're talking armor. There's a whole set of rules that if you talk to your guild, people that PvP, they'll tell you, they could probably give you an idea of what's valuable. But those pieces in there can sell for a couple million up to hundreds of millions, depending on how good the stat rolls are. The other thing you're looking for is like really high-end jewelry. And I'm trying to remember exactly how it was explained to me, but you're not looking for clean jewelry from those events. You're looking for really high statted jewelry, and like all kind of synergizes together. So, you're going to look for, plus 15 skills that work together. So you may not necessarily, you don't want like, so you probably wouldn't want 3 different weapon skills, because that's, kind of a waste, right? You want just one. So like if it's mace fighting, wrestling, fencing, 15, you're kind of wasting them. You want them to synergize, like 6, 7, 8 stats that synergize. So, and you want also to make sure that those have kind of jewelry specific unique properties. So like, if it's for a melee character, right, you're going to want to see you're going to want to see 6, 7, 8 properties that all work together conceivably, number one. And number two, you're going to want to see it has like swing speed. Or if it's a caster item, right, you're going to want to see faster cast recovery 3 and faster casting 1, or at least a couple of those stats. But those can also sell for quite a bit. So, and we'll talk later about how I've been making money, but I just wanted to say, for those of you who are like, well, how do I make a bunch of money? That's kind of my thoughts on it right now. There's the taming stuff. There's maybe selling equipment, which I started crafting luck suits. I kind of backed off. But as far as just kind of PVM content right now, that's where I've been at. And that doesn't even go to speak of like, if you can solo champion spawns, or you can do that with a group of friends, right? That can make money. I'll be honest, I feel like there's quickly diminishing returns on the value of doing champ spawns in Fel with a bunch of people, because the amount of bad scrolls that drop is pretty high. So, I'm soloing them, and I've been getting 100% of the scroll drops. So if one's good but the rest are bad, it's all good. But like, if you go with 5 people, and only one scroll drops. So you guys got to figure out how to make that equitable. Or if none drop, then 5 people wasted their time. So those are my thoughts on kind of making money. It's not a comprehensive guide. It's just kind of where my head's at right now. So now let's move on to the actual project. Like, how have we done? We're going for 2 billion gold. Where are we at? All right, so how far did we make it on the project? And as you guys know, the titles of these videos kind of say, week from here to here. Those are not calendar weeks. Clearly, I started this project 2 years ago. I basically take the average amount of time that I would play in a given week when I'm playing full time, and I kind of estimate how many weeks it's been. It's been a couple months since the last update. But I would say it's about 3 to 4 weeks worth of playtime. So a pretty decent amount, but we had the holidays mixed in there, so it wasn't a steady amount of time. So we started, like I said, 474 million last time. That's where we ended, and that's where we're starting for this time. And then I think what we'll do is let's go ahead and go through all the different characters. And we'll pull money off of the vendors just to see where they're at, and then I'll review the stuff that we've sold directly to other people offline. So before we do anything, I will basically say that I did spend a little money. I bought an elemental slayer book. I bought I changed some skills on the mage. I dropped meditation and picked up spirit speak, and I bought a +5 spirit speak transcendent scroll, and I never used it. So I am technically short 800k there, but I will probably sell that and make that back. But that is technically an expense as well. And then before we get into all the different characters and what they've earned on vendors, the big thing I should mention is the mage went to an EM event, and he did get a drop. So I did sell that drop for 167 million. So that was a huge find and really pushed us farther in this project. For those of you who don't know, every server runs an event or two every week. I've probably done 10, and I've only gotten an event drop once. So whether or not you think those odds are worth it, I was really happy to have gotten an event drop, and I sold it for quite a bit of money. So right out of the gate, that was kind of very early on in this cycle since my last update. So 167 million, and that was really good. So let's just go through all the vendors. So if we talk about logistics, the mage, this character has ended up contributing a ton, and if I'm going to attribute the money we made off that event, it's going to get attributed to the mage, because the mage is the one I take to events because he can really easily target with thunderstorm, and he's got a bunch of different tools for getting loot rights, even if it's super laggy and I can't see, and I don't need to get up close. So if we're keeping tally on which characters are making which money, the event drop that sold for 167 million, that's going to go towards the mage. So this is where we're at on the mage, and you saw that we have 26 million to withdraw right now, which we will. This character I've been bringing to anything with groups. This character also is doing EM events, anything where there's a bunch of people and I'm trying to participate in an event or get kill rights on a bunch of different things, including the last event we did that just closed down that was in Deceit, right? The points event. I don't know, I forget what the name of it was. That was my main character because he can hit so much stuff and get loot rights on stuff, and he can get in and out really quickly. So he was really good at that. So you can see we've got 26 million here. You can also include, there was also 4 million that he sold directly. I sold some of those Arclich items directly to another player at the end of the event. I wasn't going to turn them in for points, so I just sold them. So that won't be included in this total. But the way this character has made money, I did high seas on him once. I prefer the tamer for that because the pets just kind of wreck the monsters really quick. Now, if I was doing beacons, it would be different. I would probably take the mage. But for just general high seasing, I'm gonna prefer the tamer over the mage, just because he takes things down, and he can also the pet also absorbs damage. So I put a couple items up here, one have sold, but for the most part you're gonna see that all that's on my tamer. So this character, like I said, I've been bringing to groups, and earlier I was telling you guys about really high end pieces of gear that might be good for, PvPers or Sampires or whatever. You can see them kind of in the middle here. Now I'm not saying this item is worth 150 million, but you can see I got a bunch of items here that I've priced pretty high. These have a couple different regens. They have lower mana costs. They have cold eater, casting focus. So they have a whole bunch of desirable stats that might make it good for a PvPer depending on what they're looking for. So for all these items, I'm essentially just leaving them there. I start them at the highest I can sell them for, and then I drop them a little bit each week. So tonight, I will probably do that. I will go through all the vendors and I will lower prices if they haven't sold, and eventually all these items should sell. Whether it's 100 million for one of these or whether it's 10 million, I couldn't tell you, but I've been doing that. Now down here, you'll see I've just been grabbing random things. This is a silly price, but I've just been grabbing random things out of Rooftop that someone might value. This is clearly, I don't know why this is in here. So I've been just grabbing random things from Rooftop and Underwater that are like mildly valuable. They're not special. I'm essentially just putting them up for $1 million, whatever, and then I'll drop them to 500 and then 250, and then eventually we'll find a price where they make sense for somebody. But that's basically what it is. This stuff up here, I honestly think it's the same kind of stuff. It was before I kind of have structured projects. It's more or less all the same thing. It's just stuff that might sell for 100K, 200K, but I just start the price high and I work my way down. But all of the stuff that you see there is basically stuff from Underwater, whatever, right? These are all legendary: Underwater, Rooftop, etc., etc., etc. So I guess we can withdraw this money, which is good. I need to make... I don't know what the cap is for vendors. People tell me different things, but we'll just withdraw our gold. We'll collect... What is it? 26... Okay. All right, 665. All right, withdrawn. All right, let's go to the next character. We'll go to the Sampire. So I didn't spend a lot of time in the Sampire doing champion spawns. To be honest, what I had been doing was, this was a character that I was running Krampus on. And actually, I should make it clear, I was doing Krampus on all of these characters. So even the mage, there were some Krampus specific transcendent scrolls, whatever. That was but the problem with that is the more trade runs you do, the more items you have to get to fill the order, and it gets annoying. So every time I got up to like 5 or 6, so you have to take something from your city to another city. So you start off with just having to take 10 ingots, whatever. Then it's 10 ingots, 10 something from the tailor. Then it's 10 this, 10 this, 10 this. Then you can get up to like 5 or 6. It gets super annoying. So once it gets to be up at the end, I started a new character. So the Sampire was kind of the last one that I was working on. So it looks like most of his Krampus stuff sold. You can see here's a bit. Some of these scrolls of transcendence came from there, and then at this point, all of the scrolls of transcendence and mastery books and the things that he's done in terms of champion spawns, most of that stuff sold. So I need to start doing champ spawns again, but I was kind of caught up doing event stuff and doing other things. So, and the other thing I did do in the Sampire was, when I don't know what to do and I'm gonna go do that kind of just general farming stuff, the Sampire is typically who I use. So I did sell probably 3-4 stacks of essences of control, so 10 each. We sold some essences of order, we sold some void orbs, and then the other thing I did a couple times, I took his shame points and I did some of those whetstones, I believe they're called. They let you take damage increase off of a crafted item for viewing reasons. So that was another thing I did. If I couldn't find an event to go to and I didn't have a seasonal event or a Krampus thing to do, this was the character. And I would imagine of the money we just withdrew, I would imagine probably 15, 20, well, probably actually more like 30 or 40, because those whetstones sold for I think 10 or 12 each, and I sold 2 or 3. So it's not an insignificant amount of money that we made just doing routine stuff. That stuff is a little bit slower than if you hit the lottery on a really good item for a PvPer or a crazy PvP weapon or whatever, but it still was a decent amount of money. I guess we should quickly withdraw his money. All right. Done. So the next character is the Tamer, and Tamer's got the most amount of money sitting on the vendor right now. At 93 million, so that's good. The Tamer, like I said, is my preferred high seas vendor, and you can see this was a wall of high seas crates, so you can see people are picking through them, and I've got a house full of them that I can go and restock with. This is just kind of random loot from underwater or whatever, wherever he goes. And then down here was a whole couple rows of Krampus loot. Majority of the money here, it's honestly partially high seas loot. If I had to guess, we have probably 20 million high seas goods sold, maybe 10 or 15. But most of this money was made off of Krampus, and it was almost two full rows, and you can see it's really dwindled down. And I'm just continuing to revise prices until they finally sell. However, Omelet also, the Tamer Omelet, also sold off the vendor a Krampus whip for 73 million. So I believe in total, so this total here includes a whip that I had on a vendor that someone purchased, and then someone purchased from me live another whip, so the crafting recipe. So that is a pretty good chunk of change that can be attributed to the Tamer. I have not really done anything with those rare pets that I found. What I've kind of learned is that the pets that I've been training, the value in those pets for the more rare colors is not as high as it used to be, with the blaze color, the orange color being an exception, just because they have these essentially store items you can buy now that are like skins, so you can get like a whatever, they're just like vanity skins for the pets, so you can turn your pet into a, I think there's a Saint Bernard one, whatever. So I'm trying to figure out how to monetize the pet side of things a little bit, but I haven't, for this update, I haven't really done that all too much. So let's go ahead and take the money out of this one. Let's withdraw, collect gold. That's 933. Okay, that's done. And then on to the last couple vendors. So I put a vendor here for my thief, and I think it's fun to go steal artifacts. And you can see we're not making a lot of money, but if you need some teacups, if you need some books, they're sold for reasonable prices. Come by, 5,000 gold. What a deal. But we haven't really made any money doing this. I do have the fisherman. I think I did an event, a boss event on this fisherman, and this just was the stuff that I picked off of it. I don't think any of it's particularly good. I haven't done any fishing, haven't had time, so I didn't sell any bottles, but maybe we'll sell something here. I'm gonna price adjust these here pretty soon. And then lastly, we have the crafter, which we haven't really done anything here. These are just things that are from before I started documenting the project. They're, I'm lowering the price to where, this is effectively worthless. So this is just nonsense. It needs to be removed, right? But I took the price down from, I didn't know the value, and I didn't want to vendor search was down, so I just threw it up there. Have the price, so it's clearly this needs to be taken down. But I did have a whole bunch of, I started crafting a luck suit. And the junk pieces, I didn't get very far. I actually had a bunch of bad reforges and re-rolls, but I basically, anything that here's 150 luck. I didn't want stamina regeneration on it, so I just put it up. and if someone wants it and they want to throw just a budget suit together of luck stuff, they can do that. I think I've sold, like, I organized this again just so I can see. I think I've sold 3 or 4 total. So it hasn't been a total loss. I mean, you can see total money we've got is 3.9. So probably sold 3 or 4 of those. Otherwise, that's basically it. So not a ton of money. Most of the money is coming from, like I said, the Sampire, the Mage for the group stuff, and the Tamer. And a lot of that was Krampus, to be honest. So that's kind of where we are as of today. Let's go ahead and collect the gold. Should we even bother? Okay. So that's where all the money came from. What we should do is we should see, where does that leave us? If you go to the item insurance menu, it should tell us. So that leaves us with 885 million gold, 886 million gold. So, you know, we're into this project, I would say, like, actual almost 2 months of playtime if you total it all up, and we are pushing close to $1 billion. If you include the value of the stuff in here, I think when it all finally equalizes out and we get down to a sellable price, I probably am closer to 950. But so it's good progress, but we still have a ways to go, and I really need to kind of dial it in and get this done. Otherwise, this is going to take all year. For those of you wondering, like, I consider 1 week if I play, like, I would say 12 hours. So from the last update to this update, we made about 412 million. You can kind of math that out. That's over the course of, it's around 40 hours of work. It's not terrible. I would like to see it go a little bit faster. The luck suit, I would like to start crafting a luck suit and maybe selling it, but I really do need a luck suit for a non-gargoyle. I only have a gargoyle luck suit right now. So that puts us in just like needing a luck suit rather than making a luck suit for selling. I do think a really good luck suit probably would have a lot of value. The only thing that I'm having a hard time with is and why I haven't continued is it is a little bit of a struggle trying to get the items that I need to craft it. So just as an example, I will show you. Having a hard time clicking. So, you know, to do this, there's these, you know, you need runic sewing kits. I think they're horned. I've got a whole bag of them here that I can turn in. Even though I do have a whole bag, you know, I've got 35 kits. The amount of kits I'll need for a full suit's probably closer to 100. And the prices right now on vendor search are the volume and the prices are prohibitive. So I'm debating if I want to actually do that or if I'm just going to, you know, I could also do a suit, the blacksmith suit. I don't want to get into the weeds, but you know, I'm trying to do a studded leather suit or bone, which, you know, for those of you who don't know, it comes with, when it's non-mage armor, comes with a bonus to LMC that's greater than the bonus that comes with metal armor. That comes with a smaller bonus to LMC, but it also has some stamina protection in there too. So I'm not sure, still thinking about it. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm not streaming this week because we have guests, but I thought I should capture that I just did an event and I got a drop. And I think that'll sell for a lot. 150 million? I don't know. We'll see. It gives you luck. Just capturing the moment. Okay. So as you know, I got the event item from an EM event last night. It looks like a bunch of these are on vendor search for 175. So this guy has agreed to buy it for, they're on vendor search for 175. He's agreed to buy for 167 million. So here we go. This is a 167 million, blah, blah, blah. I think that's good. He checks. All right. Cool. We're at 641 million now. This is awesome. Well, we're not streaming again. Krampus happened to pop up, and we got a barbed whip, which I believe sells for a lot. Let's go see how much it sells for. How long will vendor search take? Pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to be done with Krampus or what. I actually think I'm going to keep running Krampus because I have a fun idea. Anyways. Sure wish this stuff would happen when I'm streaming. We got another spiked whip. We got another whip. We got another spiked whip off stream. I'm going to go sell it. That was all. But I think if they attack you... Discord 0.8, that might be worth it. We may have just found a decent one, people. Oh, Minnock. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Mortar and Pestle, Black Pearl Night Sight. All right. Cool. We may have just made this worth our while. And then we had leftover tacos as well. From Taco Wednesday, because we didn't have Taco Tuesday this week. We did Taco Wednesday this week. Our meal plan is Salmon Monday, Taco Tuesday generally. Whatever we want Wednesday. What do we get? What do we get? Oh, okay. Tonight is now suddenly been worth it. We'll take it. Okay, let's go to the house real quick. Well, let's see where he wants to give me a trade offer for. But that was a nice find right there. Moonglow, cancel. We'll do, I don't know. What do you think? 8 million, guys? Hit chance, defense, spell damage. Yeah, so that's a waste. Like this here, this is not far off. The problem with this is the tactics, right? Oh wait, no, it doesn't have swing speed. It's got to have swing speed. Right, not good. All right, what do you guys say we go do an IDOC? Should be up soon. All right, the IDOC is over. We missed it. I had my timer set for 12:15. Clearly, my timer was wrong. This house is awesome, by the way. I love this house. This part is super cool. Come on. If that's not super creative, I don't know what is. Where's the body? I can't see it. Nothing super good. All right, well, this kind of sucked. No, I don't think that's... no, I think it's probably something to do with that. Let's just grab some stuff here. Hopefully we can... I don't know. Maybe we can get lucky and something's not garbage, but I think that was kind of a throwaway. So should I ask them if they should like and subscribe?
No.
Make sure you check out all the videos in the series. I've linked above the full playlist so that you can start from the beginning and watch through all the way to the end if you're interested. Thanks for watching.